6th person to swim Cook Strait. 2 weeks later, she decides to do it the other way because it might be faster. And she becomes the 7th. 6 years later, Phil Rush swims his world record-setting Cook Strait double. 2 weeks after that, our keynote speaker responds with her own Cook Strait double. Meda and her swims hit the national news. We watch at home on our Philips K9 colour TV. I'm 11 years old and had to have it explained to me that she swam from here to there. Unbelievable. While researching you, Meda, my friend Mark Jeffrey said, "You know, she's a Bay girl." Whereabouts, I asked. Queen's Drive, just by the school. Meda, I lived in Buckingham Street, less than 100 metres from your place. She was made a member of the Order of the British Empire in 1978, inducted into the New Zealand Sports Hall of Fame in 1996. Over about a decade, she became one of the most remarkable figures in the history of long-distance swimming. It really is my great privilege to introduce to you your keynote speakers, Meda and her brother Alex McKenzie.
As always, my brother's going to go first.
Whatever. I've got to say, I'm in total awe of all the people that have gone before us, and to be surrounded by such amazing athletes. It's honestly a real honour and privilege to be up here to speak with you tonight. I'm going to digress a little bit. I'm going to go away from the swimming just for a little bit and talk about us when we were children and about how kind of Meda fell into the actual ultra-marathon swimming and things like that. It's totally different from a lot of young people where they sort of are groomed and then they go on to swim. It was kind of a bit more of an accident for us, or I should say more for Meda. So I'm going to take you back to a time just after dinosaurs roamed the earth, around about the 60s, when Meda and my older sister Jackie and myself were born. So I was the boy in the middle with the older sister and the younger sister. So one day my dad decided that he was going to make a go-kart, and so me and him made a go-kart out of a beer crate and a couple of pram wheels, and we were racing down the hill, and it was all good times, having a lot of fun. And Meda was watching us and decided, oh, I'll have a crack at that. I'll come over and have a go, eh? Yeah, all right, sweet as. So Meda comes over and wants to have a go on the go-kart. Dad leaves and goes back to the house. Meda's not allowed to drive the go-kart by herself because she didn't do any test drives, right? It's a rule, like, you just can't. But being the brother and stuff, I allowed her to jump on the back of the go-kart with me, and we went screaming down the hill. No problem. First thing I realised is we were going a little bit faster than normal with two people on there. That's cool. I've got the brake, so I deploy the brake, pull a wooden handle, which comes off in my hand. Oop. Okay, no sweat, no sweat. We'll go from the second option. I'll put my feet down and that'll slow us down before we hit the corner. No shoes on, might not use that option, eh? So, we go flying into the corner, the go-kart tips over, and Meda and I go flying down the road, scraped and bloodied and bruised. Meda jumps up, races back to the house. I've got the go-kart in tow, and I thought I'd sneak round the back door to avoid getting a clip round the ear. Unfortunately, my dad had read that and it was waiting at the back door, clip round the ear and getting told off. So my mum then, she called the doctor, and we're all bloody and bruised and everything, and our doctor was an old Scottish fella, and he said to us, or said to my mother, you should take the kids down to the pool because the pool's full of chlorine and it'll help drain out the infection and reduce the scarring. Sweet, no worries. So off we get, poled up down to Cannons Creek Pool, chucked in Cannons Creek Pool with all these kids going, what the? There's these two kids all covered in blood and bruises and scars and things jumping in the pool, and for some funny reason everybody else got out of the pool, but we had... And now I think they call it resilience training because it really hurt when we got in the water, obviously, like stinging with the chlorine and so on and so forth. So that was kind of like the first sort of start of having to, or getting taken down to the pool. But Meda was kind of like, because she was the youngest one, and there was no other boys in the family, she was kind of like encouraged to be a bit of a tomboy, so that I would have someone to play with, like cowboys and Indians and you know, war games and all that kind of stuff, and a bit of rugby. So she decided one day she wanted to see it snow, so we pulled apart a pillow and threw all the fluff into the air, which was a great lot of fun, right? Like, sort of cool, till Mum and Dad found out. You got it, clip around the ear, Meda got to go to the pool. But Meda's always encouraged me as well to try and be as best as I can be, and I wanted to be a paratrooper, so she told me that if I jumped out of the top window of our state house using a pillowcase as a parachute, everything will be fine. And she was right, the jump did go really well. It was the landing that didn't go too well. You got it again, clip around the ear, Meda got to go to the pool. So we then moved from Paurua and we moved into Thorndon, and we went to Thorndon School. Right next door to Thorndon School was the Thorndon Pool. The Thorndon Pool used to be heated by the brewery across the road, pretty ironic, but it meant that it stayed warm all year round. So we got to swim in the pool all the time, all year round, to avoid going home where my mum was running a boarding hostel for the railway workers. So we didn't have to do chores and help out around the house. We'd stay in the pool until it actually closed, and then we'd sneak off home. So lots of time and fun spent in the pool. But I've been very lucky to spend, to share with Meda and some of her most amazing achievements. And I think part of that has been, or I think the reason why Meda has become so resilient is possibly because that we tormented our parents so much that improved our resilience, trying to avoid getting a hiding before we went out to the pool. But I've been lucky enough to share with her and some of her amazing events, and you know, it's very difficult when you're the older brother and you want to protect your sister, and you know she's going to put herself in danger just because she's come up with some harebrained idea that she's going to go do this swim or whatever, and your brain is going, oh, I don't know, that doesn't sound too good to me, you know, like sharks, jaws, you know, like this is not looking too good. But you swallow the pill and you try and encourage her. And away she went, and there's been times when we've had our little temper tantrums, when we've had our good times and our bad times, as you do. Cop the old feeding bottle in the head on the odd occasion. But those special moments and those times that we've had together are things that a brother and a sister can only, you can give as good as you get, and it's a very, very special bond. I love my sister dearly, and it's been a real honour to have been a part of her journey. And I give you now, Meda McKenzie, MBE.
He's not normally that nice to me. So, as most of us are marathon swimmers, we all know the first two questions we get asked are why and what keeps you going. No idea why. I haven't come up with a saying reason for that as yet. My first swim that I did, sea swim, was from Paraparaumu Beach to Kapiti Island. They had just shown the Jaws movie. It was supposed to be a team event. Not many other people turned up. Now you think I would have figured that one out, but I didn't. The first Cook Strait was the north to south, and Johnny Cataldo was the pilot on the fishing boat, the San Antonio, which was based out in Island Bay. And coincidentally, a friend of my brother's now owns that boat, and he's turned it into a houseboat. So that was pretty funny. So we motored out, we drew to start, and I'm sitting there pondering, thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be okay, or you know, how am I going to get in the water? Somebody, we won't mention, pushes me off the boat, and that was it. That was the start of how I got going. And everything was pretty good. It was a good swim, that first swim. Nothing much happened. You know, swimming along for a few hours, and then I thought, why has that guy got a gun? Why is he pointing that gun at the water? So I say to Alec, between breaths, why has that man got a gun? What's happening? And he's like, oh, God, just imagining things. Get on with it. Keep swimming. So I swim for another hour or so, and then he goes, oh, we thought we saw a shark, but it's gone now. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. So that kept me occupied and, you know, stopped me thinking about my sore arms for quite a while. And that was really good. And then we were still swimming along, and I thought, God, this is taking ages. I know I'm slow, but gosh, what's going on here? And I'd missed the tide. So I had to keep swimming and wait for the turn of the tide, and that was really hard work. I'm sure you all know that's really hard work. I was lucky that I did have a lot of dolphins swim with me, so they kept me occupied as well. And that swim went really well. So we thought, oh, okay, let's give a south to north swim a go. And I had a coach at the time who was a Welshman, Clive Lewis, and he said, look, I really do think you need to do a bit more training. You're a little bit on the heavy side, and perhaps you should do a little bit more training. And he thought running would be a good idea. I'm not really a runner, didn't think it was a good idea, but I agreed to it. But I had a really good plan. I'd start the run off, catch the bus, get to the end of the circuit, then I could jog back up to Clive. He thought I'd done the whole run because I'd only run about 300 metres and I was absolutely stuffed. And then he was really happy. In hindsight, I think I probably should have done the running. And then Dad came up with the great idea that, you know, Wellington's cool, it's nice and cold. How about we leave all the windows open all night in the middle of winter and I'd get used to the cold? I did not. The Cook Strait was still cold when I got into it. It was not great. My second single crossing of the strait was south to north, and that was quite interesting. My pilot for that was Graham Wilkinson on the Shalimar, and you know Graham, Phil, he's passed now, which is sad. And he had rung and he said, all right, everything's a go. Tides are good, wind is good, get your stuff, meet me down at Mana. Great. Dad gets the food, Alex gets what he needs, I get in the car, get on the Shalimar, we're motoring out. Great, let's put the togs on, get the Vaseline and the sheet fat on. Who packed the togs? Did you pack the tog? No, not my job. I've got my towel. Okay, no togs. And I was the only female on the boat, so that didn't go down too well. I ended up in Speedos and a t-shirt. Yeah. And then when I got in the water, I just hauled my top off and had a lovely free swim in these. And it was up to my brother to ensure that my modesty was taken care of come feed time. Yeah. So that was really, really good fun. But I wasn't a fast swimmer at all. I was a slow swimmer. I was never in a hurry. I was a bit lazy and often swam in the dark. So, and as you know, you can hear the dolphins before you see them. You can hear the little squeaks, and it's really great. Well, this particular time, the dolphins decided not to say anything. And I see these fins going, dashing past underneath me, and it was like, oh, I think it's a shark, I'm too tired. I can't be bothered. And that was a little bit frustrating at times. Other than that, we had really good swims. But the one thing that I did next was my second swim was the double crossing. Now, as Phil knows, and as all I'm sure you've heard, Philip did the double crossing very well. And what did you say, Phil? No woman would ever be able to do the double crossing of exchange. And it was like, really? Really, Phil? Are you really going to put that challenge up? So, and like I never thought actually I'd have to do it. But I did. I thought, no, I'm going to prove him wrong. And I went, it was cold, Philip. It was 24 hours. I hurt. And I did have a little few moans and a little few groans, not many, and I'm sure you see I'm a very calm person. I didn't complain much at all. So that was pretty cool fun. Yeah, right. Thanks, Phil. Don't change me to anything more, please. And then we did the Fovo Strait. Fovo Strait was really nice swim, really lovely people. We were very fortunate that we got fogged in for 2 days, and we were fed on oysters and crayfish. And the locals lovingly showed me their pictures of the great big sharks that they had caught in the strait. So it was really nice of them. I was pretty upset to go home, actually. It was a beautiful time. Really, really enjoyed it. And when Seti contacted me and he said I was to get the Lifetime Award, I was really chuffed. And I rang my brother and I said, hey, you know, I'm going to get this Lifetime Award. And he thought that I deserved it, although I think he thinks he probably deserves it more, but that's another story. You know, and I thought, like it's been mentioned here before, we do the work. We are in the water. You know, we are getting cold. But without a crew, we're nothing. If our crew is not with us, if our crew does not believe in us and support us and have that total willingness to stay in that rolling, slow boat and watch paint dry as each of our arms go over. I mean, it's incredibly boring, you know. We wouldn't be any of that. And you've got to thank your crew. That's one thing. You have to have a really, really good crew. Now, my brother was with me on all my swims, and he stuck beside me. He was on the surf ski or in the water with me at all times. And, you know, I couldn't have done it without him. Absolutely couldn't have done without him. And, you know, your crew member has to know when to be kind, when not to be kind, and when just to leave you alone. And that's art. But look at this face, Phil. You've got to be kind to this face when it's saying, please, I'm hurting. You know? And he also ensured that any support boats were far enough away that I could not be bothered swimming them to stop the swim. So that really helped quite a lot. You know, as I say, without a support crew, you know, that's you've got to have that decent support crew. I did try and be a support person for Alex when he did a 24-hour marathon run. No. It's not good. He did get his own back on me, but it really does take special people. And so I'd like to thank everybody that has supported me through the years. But also I'd like to say thank you to all of those up-and-coming ultramarathon swimmers who really keep our sport, Phil and I sport, really. I'm going to name it for you, you and me. You know, to keep going. You know, I really love the sport, but I really hate it at the same time. You know, that's that really love-hate relationship. Thank you very much for inviting me tonight.
And we are going to give you your Lifetime Award. Right.
I just wanted to say one thing.
We can't deny it.
Maybe I did say that, I'm not sure. But just recently we took Caitlin O'Reilly to Fovo Strait, and it was a very, and Jono, they've both done incredibly well getting across. We got a last-minute pilot, and the guy comes up to me, his name is Zane. He comes up and shakes my hand. He said, "Oh, Dad took Meda across."
Oh, that's nice.
He said, "I named my first daughter Meda." So there was some real good luck there that day.
Oh, thank you, Philip.
And for Alex, we have the Maui Award, which is for supporting the swimmers.